Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. As it stands today, it is June 5th, 2018. Another beautiful day outside. Gorgeous. Perfect weather. Perfect time for independent wrestling. We are the defenders in independent wrestling.
What is this, frickin' Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood?
That's just Dan over there.
I see Dan's attitude hasn't changed since I left. Mr. Friendly over there.
He is in a good mood today.
Maybe you could show him a hug.
Nope.
Nope, okay. I guess we'll go on the hugs.
That's Dan. This is the Professor. Welcome back, Professor.
Thank you very much for having me back.
All right.
I've been busy.
Giving undisclosed locations.
I've been all over undisclosed
Right.
locations.
Classified.
That's classified.
Right.
Classified at this point. So.
Between you and the government.
Between me and the government, yes.
That's it. Right.
But you managed to find me, so I'm
We
back.
managed to find you. We did.
And drag your rotten carcass back in here.
That's right.
If I'd known Dan was going to be here, I would have probably stayed in. So, yeah.
Dan's
nice.
always here.
It's always he's like the microphone. So
Right.
no, it's good to be back. I've just been busy, a lot of stuff going on. Busy with shows.
Right.
Yeah, very busy with shows. So yeah, it's everything's been really good and fighting to get back here. You know, I've got a full-time job too, so it keeps me very busy. Plus my other excursion. So.
Oh, yeah.
So
The alley fights were over the weekend, and there will be another alley fight this weekend.
yeah, you got my home PAPW. Friday night alley fights.
Right.
A lot of interesting stuff going on there. Friday night alley fights. They got the King of Paradise tournament,
Right.
which is culminating this coming week, Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
So with a couple of gentlemen, Sammy Diaz and Nutrius X. So
Right.
yeah, it's going to be a really good match. It's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
I use the term one hell of a night.
So we had Riptide coming up this Friday, but that has been moved to just an alley fight.
Yes,
Right.
the 16th Riptide show was unfortunately didn't come off, but fortunately it goes to an alley fight. So yeah, if you've never been to the Friday night alley fights, it's just a different animal.
Right.
It's a lot of fun. I mean, not that the other shows are not fun, but this one is really a lot of fun. You don't have to move the ring, which is always a plus.
Right.
You know, so you don't have to break the ring down. You don't have to put the ring back up, break it down, put
You
it
have
in
to
a
move
truck.
some chairs, but that's about it.
You got to move a few chairs, but the best thing about it is being there. I mean, it's the Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling School,
Right.
and it's a much more intimate setting. You get to I mean, you're really maybe 3 feet, 4 feet from the ring.
Mm-hmm.
So for us as the wrestlers, the talent, the referees, the ring announcer, Mark Adam Haggerty,
Right.
it's just so much fun because literally you could shake the hands of the fans.
Mm-hmm.
The interesting thing is, we don't do an intermission, but there's really just a lot of fan interaction. So
There's not that many matches, so there's really no need for an intermission.
No, there's not, and it just reminds me a lot of the old, Georgia Championship Wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Which had a really great vibe. I think that's what the people, the folks that produced that, Nick Payne and Marcel Williams really coordinate a lot of that. With the blessings of Mario Mancini, Paul Roma, Big Steve Tracy, and Paul Perez. And Sergeant Murray all involved in that. But it's a different show. It's a different atmosphere. And I think it offers our fans a couple of different versions. Plus, it's a Friday night, 8 o'clock, $5, and it's a quick hit show, So, and the best thing is you get to really talk to the fans after the show. You get to, sit down with them, have a conversation if you have friends or family that came down to see. So, overall, it's just a really good vibe. So, yeah, there's a show this weekend. I think there's, if you look at our calendar at Paradise Alley ProfessionalWrestling.com, or like us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, I think you're going to find basically the next 3 weeks we're going to have shows there, and then we'll be rolling into July. I know we have at least 2 shows in July.
2 shows in July. That would be for the alley fights as well.
For the alley fights also. So I think there's going to be a lot. The alley fights is what we'll be working on because that's the lead up to
the big show.
The big show back at the Mohegan Sun. PAPW presents Crazy Eights. The card, I think, is being determined.
Mm-hmm.
But from what I know, and I'm sworn to secrecy, I could tell you that the fans will not be disappointed, and it's going to be a lot of fun. The last show was tremendous. Had a great time. It's just another good thing. So a lot of things going on at PAPW. So got Mr. Chatty Pants down there.
Well, I was listening to all the verbiage and knowledge that was being passed down this way.
Right. So you feel more knowledgeable now?
No.
So what else we got going on?
What else we got going on? We had a great time over the weekend at a great event up in East Providence, Rhode Island. I'll show some pics a little bit later on.
Gotcha.
The New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame induction ceremony.
Yeah, and that's put on by who?
Joseph Bruin. All Access Entertainment.
Yep.
We're the videographers for it.
Yep.
Soon they should have the entire ceremony up on their page.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a who's who of inductees this year.
A who's who.
I know you know a few people. Would you like to tell the studio audience?
No, the two main, I'd say the 3 main attractions were, I'd say, the Boogie Woogie Man, Jimmy Valiant.
Yep.
Of course, Johnny Idol.
Yep.
And PAPW's very own Paul Roma.
That's it, Paul Roma.
Yep. And we're going to show Paul Roma at his job.
Yep.
Training people, and Johnny Idol at what was his very, very last match.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Right.
So
we got a tribute.
Tribute.
A tribute.
All right.
Right.
Well, 2 great guys. Paul Roma, trained me and continues to train me on the art of being a good referee.
Mm-hmm.
Johnny Idol, I've met a few times, and he's always seemed to be a gentleman. Very personable. So it's always, it's always nice to get recognition. Not, and this is not meant in a bad way. Not everybody is going to be in the WWE Hall of Fame.
No. But
to be recognized by a peer group of other wrestlers, and Joe Bruin does a tremendous job. I've met him on a couple of occasions, but like everybody else, we're all linked through Facebook. And
of course.
And just to put something of that magnitude together, and the fact that you have so many people that are in the area that were inducted, it just says an awful lot. Just being in that elite group at that point, saying that, hey, you're the best of the best, and we think so much of you that we want to. You've done so much, whether it was inside of the ring, but as your wrestling life or career changes, not ends, but changes, it puts you in a place where you say, we appreciate what you've done.
Right.
Not everything could be measured by, championships and, title belts, just those things. I think there's so many different variables of what your tutelage is, the what you leave behind at the end of the day. It's like, how many people do you teach? What I think it was, Booker T at the last Dieselmania said this is, for these guys, which I've started to learn a lot more about, it's a craft. It's like someone who, builds beautiful cabinets or does tremendous woodwork.
Right.
These guys are giving knowledge out. And sometimes, and again, I'll just speak for the PAPW family in some way, shape, or form. is that sometimes you will just sit there and listen to what these guys are talking about. I mean, Mario Mancini, you could sit there and listen to for hours.
Absolutely.
You know, he just tells these amazing stories. You know, Paul tells stories differently.
This
but
may surprise you. Mario Mancini was the one to induct Paul Roma in, and Mario Mancini's speech was longer than Paul Roma's.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
No.
No, that doesn't surprise me at all. Knowing what I know, listen, they're both beautiful people. You know, and Ben, not only just been incredible to me, but you know, Ben, they're very good to a lot of people. They try to bring people in. You know, they're trying to bring people in who have, you know, certain places in the company where you could feel like you're part of something bigger, because they want people to feel that they are part of the show and that they are part of what goes on. And not everybody can be a wrestler. Not everybody can be a referee. Not everybody could be a ring announcer. But there are little things that you can do, you know.
Yeah, everybody has a place.
Yeah, and I think it speaks a lot. And that's what you look at the end of the day. It's not what you say to yourself, it's not more about what you have material-wise. It's what, at the end of the day, what are people saying about you? And if they say, you know, oh, I went to PAPW, did a training day down there with Paul Roma. Well, how was it? Oh, it was great. You know, everybody, you know, it was a family there. Everybody shakes your hand. You know, that's one of the first things I was taught. It's like you shake everybody's hand when you walk in the building. When you leave, you shake everybody's hand. It's about the respect atmosphere and just being very humble about what you do on a day-to-day basis. So
incidentally, why don't we show Mr. Roma? This is was back over last summer.
Yeah.
We can show this.
Oh, nice current footage there, Hollywood.
No, this is just a tribute. This is exactly is that your typical training seminar?
This, I believe, was an open tryout for PAPW. Not that I don't remember it. But I've just lost my train of thought. Yes, this was a training, audition opportunity that was presented for. I think it was a Saturday, and what basically people were asked if they wanted to come down and train. I think this was a couple hours. Train to work with Paul, and then Paul evaluated people. And decided in some cases if, somebody wanted his work and work with the school was good, and or whether they wanted to come back and be a student, or if Paul said, hey, I think there might be a place for here. I like what you see. So you see current PAPW champion Marcel Williams in the ring slamming Nathaniel Carr quite hard.
Right.
Well, Nathaniel deserves it.
You know,
this is something the typical wrestling fan might not see.
No, and
privy to. Yeah.
No, and you're right. And you have you got some pretty big players back there. You got Nick Payne, is there. I'm almost. You got me back there going, oh my God, that must have hurt like hell. One thing you will not see is me being picked up and slammed anywhere. So just for Danny,
but you have taken some bumps here and there.
I have taken a few hits, and so, but yeah, this is part of the whole process. You would think, why would the referee want to stand there and watch this? You're saying to yourself, because I want to know and see what it's going to happen. I mean, I see it a lot, but that's fairly new at my start here.
Yeah, you were just you hadn't been a referee for very long at that point.
If memory serves, I think I had done about maybe 10 or 12 matches by that time.
Right. Now you just lost count.
Yeah, I did.
Are you more used to being a referee now than you were at that point? Or did you
come
here in time?
Yeah, it's Yeah, you just feel more at ease in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
There's a familiarity with what we do. I try to have a very specific routine when I get in the ring, and work through different things. I have a routine, how I go out to the ring, how I check the ring ropes, the turnbuckles. I check the rest of the ring. When I check people, up until the point where, I get together and, just watch these guys start to compete against each other, things here. I think that this is Damien Darko,
Right.
without his paint on and his mask and
As
everything.
Damien Darko, he pops in from time to time, though, now.
Yes, he does.
All right.
Yes, he does.
All right.
Now you have Akim from the House of Pain,
Right.
and literally has the biggest arms I've ever seen.
We
And-
did actually see the House of Pain there Saturday night.
I know. I saw their pictures. They posted some
Right.
great pictures.
Uh-huh. That's respect right there.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because if it took us 2 hours, almost, roughly, to get there, it had to take them like 4.
Probably about 3.5, close to 4. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So here, any differences that these guys have had as competitors, they have put aside, which is sometimes very hard because you have a lot of personalities in there, to work with some folks that haven't had as much training as they have had. So again, it's just part of the whole thing there. So, and I think it was not long after, you had Damien Darko and Jackal did have a match against the House of Pain. So, it was interesting to have them come in, and that was on Friday Night Fights.
Right. This is the actual school for those that might not know. 662 Cole Avenue.
Yes, it is.
Happened to notice a sign over on Cole Avenue. Something about professional wrestling.
Where'd you notice that?
Right over by the school. Right up on the road. On the way here. Just now.
There's a sign on the front of the school.
There's also, I think, it said something about professional wrestling and it was close to the road. I'll have to check it out.
Oh, it's
again
like a
later.
standing
Yeah,
sign?
right.
Oh, it's probably from Friday Night Fights. They probably didn't pull it in. See, yeah, I mean, you look at just who came in here. You got Dan the Man.
Mm-hmm. Dan the Band. Somebody else we're familiar with up in Massachusetts as well.
Yep, does a lot of work all over. Does some work with Test of Strength. I think they does some work with a couple other organizations too. So,
All right. So Paul's over there just looking at these people.
just really just evaluating.
Right, evaluating, right.
And they're getting critique. They're critiquing.
Mm-hmm. Now, who is this over here?
The Whip.
That's the whip.
Yes.
Right.
There's no. You might not recognize her without her hat and her makeup, and she sometimes comes in with a reptile.
Sometimes.
Again, learning to take bumps,
Mm-hmm.
clotheslines, back body drop, sunset flip. As I'm being screamed at there, hey, a face walks through there. Richard Holiday.
Right. It's like this is like The Office, basically.
I'm giving everybody a certain It appears, Jay, you have an incoming call.
Yeah, hello. Good. Hold on one second. We do have a call. How are you, sir?
Doing very well. How are you guys?
Very good. Very good. For those that might not know, my microphone is dropping here, but for those who might not know, this is the current now New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Famer, Mr. Jonny Idol.
Your
Hello,
microphone,
folks. How are you?
your
Great.
microphone was dropping, so what you're saying is you can't keep it up?
Right, exactly.
Ah.
I'm sorry. What was that? No, I didn't hear what you said. What was that?
Oh, no, we're making a joke about the microphone here. But again, I want to congratulate you on being in the Hall of Fame now.
Thank you so much. It really that means a lot. It was really surreal, man. I think but being honest, I think the coolest part about it was I got to go in with Aaron Morrison. I've known Aaron. I've been best friends with Aaron for 30 years, and we've been playing music together forever. And then a bunch of other guys, Alex Arion and Fred, and all those guys, man. Paul Roma. It was pretty awesome, man. It was pretty great.
Right, we were
Bo
just.
Douglas and we had Bo died, but it was really surreal, man.
So how does it? It just feels surreal.
Yeah, man, it's very strange. It's an odd thing, man. I don't really know how to describe it. It's just very, very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. I can't thank Joseph Bruin enough from the Hall of Fame for including me in this year's class. It was, like I said, it was all friends of mine. It was pretty cool, man. Very, 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 very awesome.
Right. Yeah. It's just amazing that you're finally in. It's you were in the business. How long were you in the business now?
23 years.
Wow.
It didn't seem like it, man. Honestly, it was like it was 10 years, and then next thing I knew, it was 23. It's so like it really snuck up on me. If I'm being honest, like all the next thing you knew, it was 23 years.
Yeah, it's this is Bill Thompson.
Hey, Bill.
Hey, and you know what? You say how quickly it moves. I think it's a little bit. You look at it, and I'm just speaking from my own perspective, but I'm sure you'll agree. You're wrestling from event to event, and you kind of just go from event to event, and then you realize it's like, wait a minute, it's the middle of the spring, and I'm thinking about what's going to go on in September or October. And especially in your case where you've had some very heated rivalries through your career. It's like, you're thinking, I can't wait to get to this guy next weekend or next Friday night. And before you know it, you're like 3 months. It's like, wow, we've been battling out for 3 months, So.
Absolutely. Like it goes by like that. You're thinking about it. You're like, what's around the corner? And boom, a year goes by. It goes by like nothing. You do that one thing, then you step on to the next, and the next thing you know, a year is in the books, And plus the other thing is too, just like the music business, I find there's really similar. There's a lot of similarities between the wrestling business and the music business. My first live music show and I played in bands was in the spring of 1986. So it's just like these things just become such an important part of your life, just like anything else. And if you truly love it, next thing it just kind of the gears just kind of go by. And you think about it for a second, you're like, wow, did that really happen? It's so strange.
We're showing your final farewell match here with Tomahawk.
Oh, great!
That was a really great night.
Thank you so much. I'm really proud of that match. I really am. I think Tomahawk is a great talent, and I think we're going to see a lot of amazing things coming from him in years to come. I really do. And a lot of those guys too, Perry Von Vicious too. I think they have a lot of great things coming from him as well. Hammer Tunis, Big Bacon, all of those guys, man. I think we have a lot of really.
They were in Ring of Honor just recently. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I know. That's pretty great.
What were your thoughts as you stood in the ring, and this is going to be your last time in that ring in that capacity? What were your emotions then? What were you thinking?
I was kind of like if I'm being honest, I was ready. I was ready. I didn't go and make that deal that was going to be it for me, unless I knew I was going to be ready when it happened, and I was kind of like, wow, this is interesting. And I mean, I'm looking out and I'm seeing people that, honestly, I'm looking out at people who had never seen me wrestle. Friends and family, they'd never seen me wrestle, and they were there for that one. And it really, I don't know if it really hit me until, like, later on when I get downstairs, and I was like, wow, that was it. That was my last match, and I'm honest, I really didn't even, and again, it didn't even dawn on me until the count of three either that was it. You know what I mean? And I was like, wow, okay. And it really didn't sink in. I just said, I thanked everybody for sticking around. And I mean, the whole place is standing up and clapping and saying, thank you, Jonny, to me. That's really all I was thinking of. I was really kind of taking that in, And then I get downstairs and I'm like, wow, I'm taking my boots off for the last time. This is absolutely insane. So it went by so quick, So
well,
I don't know if I really don't know if that even answers your question, but that's kind of what was going through my head. It was, I mean, I had friends up there who my buddy was there and he saw my first match, and he's a very dear friend. He's like family to me, and he saw my first match and he saw a bunch in between, and he was there for my last match, and it was just it was really intense. It was pretty awesome.
So it's like, sort of like the first day of the rest of your life, kind of.
Kind of, yeah. I'll tell you what the weirdest thing is. Like if something's coming up, and like if somebody wants to book me for a music gig or something, and let me check my schedule and make sure I don't have a wrestling show that day. See, after 23 years of that, you get used to like always having to look at your schedule and to make sure there wasn't a show that night, And I'm like, oh jeez, I'm still doing that to this day. Like I got a call the other day about a music show, and I'm like, oh, I better make sure there's a wrestling show that day. Like how do you break that habit after that much time, after countless shows or whatever? It's such a weird habit to break,
Right. You're still involved with PvP or
Oh yeah, sure, absolutely, yeah. I'm still involved. I'm still there, and I go as much as I can. So I'm still a huge fan of everybody that's there, and I think they have a lot of really really cool stuff coming up, man. So I'm still absolutely involved with them. I always will be.
Yeah, they had some hiccups there with the mall and the card before that, but they seem to be getting back on track, which is good.
Yeah, well, I mean, that was one of those things that, that was a real bummer, man, because, I mean, a lot of people think that, we just show up, we set up the ring and we get in there and we wrestle. No, there's so much more to it than that. We're talking about weeks and weeks of preparation just for one event, and it just doesn't stop. It's nonstop. And for that to happen, for it to get taken out of our hands, like that had nothing to do with us. That was something that happened. I don't know if you heard the story, but there was like a dance there at the mall, like an underage dance, and then it was way over capacity. So the fire marshal came in and shut it down. And then next thing you know, boom, there's 500 kids in the mall when their night's entertainment was just taken away from them. So it turned into a real ugly scene out there. So so them stopping our show had nothing to do with us. It had to do with the fact that the mayor just didn't want anything like that in there again. So and it sadly it fell in our laps. So what are we going to do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's so many variables, and people don't really realize how much. It's once one show's over, you're literally working on the next show that same night, trying to get yourself together just to think about, what you have to do next.
Honestly, before you're thinking of it before. You don't say, okay, well, we have a show next week. Let's not think about that one until we get through this one. No, not at all. There's preparations for the next one too. It's nonstop.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
it's nonstop. They overlap.
I do understand that you've been challenged to a game of pool.
A game of pool?
A game of pool. Would you like to change your answer on that?
By who? Who challenged me to a game of pool?
I did.
This is dangerous. Dan here.
Okay. No, I'll play you. I'm down. I'm not saying I'm good, but I like to play. I'm so into it. Yeah, you bet.
It's all right because Dan doesn't even he knows what a pool table is, but he's never actually touched one or used done it before.
Well,
he's just figured, what the hell? I'll challenge somebody.
I needed a little refresher there on who challenged me. I looked at I hit my head a lot, and I was clearly drinking that day as well. But I do remember the challenge, and yeah, it sounds great, man. I look forward to it.
What's this place, Captain Jimmy's, like?
It's a huge restaurant and bar, and they set us up out in the back and out in the parking lot off the patio, and they're gonna have like a server out on the patio there too. It's a little fenced in area there that you can go, and they'll have drinks and stuff there. You know, I don't think you can have them out where the show is, but it's a fun time. It's right in the center of everything, and the good thing about it is too, it's a huge bar area, so there's plenty of opportunity for after party. You know.
Oh yeah, that's one of the most important things right there. You got to make sure.
Yeah. They have a huge beer list. They have something like 70 beers on tap or 60 beers on tap or something like that. And, and they have some really good, some good drinks and
great food.
Food's always good.
Yeah, well, you can find a setup for a last man standing match with beer.
I've lost that match a few times already. So
yeah. Did you think when you started this 23 years ago that, looking back and at your career, that you if you said to yourself, I want to be in the Hall of Fame, and that Joe Bruin's going to put together this thing, and I'm going to, people are going to, just be into it. Congratulations. Did you ever think in your wildest dreams that would ever happen?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I started out as a manager, and you guys heard the story at the Hall of Fame. I started out as a manager, and Paul Roma said to me, stop managing, get some gear, get in the ring, and just next thing I knew, I was, just wrestling in a lot of places, and never in my wildest dreams did I think that, never at all. Nope. But here we are, and I'm really, really grateful. It's pretty awesome. It's a great feeling.
Yeah. Besides, obviously the Hall of Fame, what would you say is probably your fondest moment in your 23-year career, or moments?
Wow. Boy, that's tough, man. Man, that is difficult. I remember years ago, my old tag team partner and I, we were the first. We were the first NECW tag team champions. That was pretty awesome. That was really, really important. We were the first ones, and then, and plus I've had the opportunity to wrestle, some people that really helped me and that I admired when I started. Like I had a series of matches, out in East Massachusetts with Sonny Goodspeed, and I just love that. Mm-hmm. I love him, and I love that. And if I'm being honest, I think I know it's going to sound weird, but somehow, I don't know how it happened, but somehow people got behind me, and it was really working. And I feel like, honestly, the last 2 years, I felt as though, I'd slowed down a bit because I'm not getting any younger, but I felt like I was clicking on all cylinders. I'm not saying I was doing the best work I'd done. I'm just saying for some reason I was just having so much fun, and it was just really seemed to be clicking. So I loved like my first blood match with Billy King. I loved winning the title. I even loved the title shot that I lost against Big Bacon Brad Hollister. I even loved that match. I was really proud of that match. And then to finally win the title, and then all the defenses. Think about the people that I got to defend the title against, over that year. Or 8 months or whatever it was, the people that I got to defend against. I mean, H2O Ryan Waters, Perry Von Vicious, Hammer Tunis, Bobby Ocean, Perry Von Vicious, Tomahawk, and just so many really, really incredibly talented people that I got to get in the ring with. And I consider myself incredibly fortunate. I think I said it the other night. I said it's something that I learned, and I'll say it again. Starting out and playing music, I've only wanted to be two things in my life, and I wanted to play in rock bands, and I wanted to be a professional wrestler. That's all I ever wanted to do my entire life. I did plenty of other things. Those are the only two things I ever really wanted to do. So, and now when it comes to music and with wrestling, I feel so fortunate to have been able to do those things, because you can think about it, people make it a priority to come out and the drive to where we are and pay money, sometimes they drive long distances. Sometimes they pay large amounts of money to sit there and just forget about everything that's going on outside those four walls and be entertained by us doing the things that we love to do. And it's so fortunate. So, I mean, you wanted me to hammer down to 6 or 7 moments that I'm incredibly proud of. I couldn't do it. We could sit here all day, and I could just talk about amazing moments. Maverick Wild, the wrestling level, Maverick Wild. I've got to wrestle Aaron Morrison countless times. Fred Curry, Chris Penham, all these guys, man. Alex Arion. I mean, I basically got in the ring with the who's who of New England professional wrestling. How awesome is that? So there you go.
No, that's. I mean, listen, you have an amazing career. Again, I think the first time I saw you was at a Blitzkrieg show, and again, I started working with the Squared Circle probably, I don't know, it seems like 4 or 5 years ago now, and I found you really engaging, and I just really nice guy, and I think I saw you at a couple of PvP shows, very nice, so it's I think it says a lot about who you are, and you should be very proud of yourself, and
thank you very much,
and I think it's going to be. I think there's bigger chapters, things bigger and better coming up for you. Do you see yourself being involved in wrestling, whether it's PvP, Blitzkrieg, another organization, in any other capacity, perhaps as a commissioner or a special enforcer or something like that?
This business has meant so much to me for so long, and it meant something to me before I was even involved in it, so I don't see me ever just bailing on it entirely. I think what I'm going through right now, like I haven't made a lot of the shows because like I was kind of like, all right, I'm not wrestling. I'm just going to go play a bunch of music and kind of just go do my thing. And that will taper off too soon. And I just think it would be like I'll never just be gone from wrestling entirely ever. I think I just kind of needed to step away from it for a little while and just kind of get my head straight and that's that.
I'm sure your body appreciates that too.
Definitely.
Yeah, you bet.
We thank you very much for calling. We had somebody else calling in after you, but
that'd be great.
But
I should also mention you to Smart Mark Sterling. I had a bunch of matches with Smart Mark Sterling. I want to say that too. That was just incredible too. The guy is so talented, and so anyway. But yeah, thank you for having me, guys, and let's do this again as soon as possible. And let me know when I can watch this. That'd be awesome.
Absolutely, it'll be up really soon. We'll see you at PvP in a couple weeks.
Thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Bye bye.
Hello.
Hello, Squared Circle.
Yes, Charles. Right, we were just on the phone with Mr. Idol there, talking about his Hall of Fame induction and career and all that. How are you doing this evening?
I could never upstage the egomaniac, now could I?
What's that again?
I could never upstage the egomaniac.
I don't think anybody could.
Well, now, I don't know, Charles. I saw some pictures on Facebook where you're building a large platform for a huge outside arena.
Oh, yeah, the big arena. The foundation for my house up in Savoy, Massachusetts, I believe.
Right.
Yep.
Well,
but, I will say that there is enough space in the crawl space for a ring. Unfortunately, the wrestlers would have to be about 4 feet tall. So that might be a problem.
Well, this is Bill Thompson, or Ref Bill, as you probably know me now.
Oh, yes, sir.
Yeah, I look at that stuff, and I'm like, God bless him, because I watched a number of the things you posted, and I'm like, this guy's out there moving trees and brush and doing all the other stuff, so God bless you, man.
Oh, yeah, well, it's a lot of fun. It's like the pioneers of old,
Yeah.
I'm going out there, and I'm working my own land.
Yeah.
And there's nothing that feels quite like. Well, I can think of something that feels even better, and that's attending pro wrestling events and taking photographs and doing match reports, and that's something I love doing too, and that's why I called today. So, what would you like to talk about first in the world of indie pro wrestling in New England?
What was the card over the weekend for Battlefront? We weren't able to attend, but you were.
That was a good show, and it was a festival show at an outdoor event, Millside Park in East Hampton, Massachusetts. And it's right behind all the old mill buildings and factories that are, of course, now been converted into our businesses and whatnot. And they held a short card, six match card there Saturday. It went from about 2:30 to 4 in the afternoon, and it was a decent. I got some good footage, and there was actually Chucky from the Child's Play films made an appearance at that show, and chased Rosalie into the ring, actually through the ring, which enabled Eric Pierce to get a pin.
I heard that. I heard there was some shenanigans going on.
Yes, got the pin on all Raji after a spear.
Yeah, and listen, I always, Charles, it's always great to see you at the shows, but I think I could speak for everybody here and at least a couple hundred wrestling fans. I mean, you just put together these amazing reviews, these masterpieces that you put together for shows where if you didn't go to the show, you're like, after reading that, you're like, I felt like I was there.
Absolutely.
The attention to detail is just really, really amazing. And, it's really greatly appreciated. I mean, I've talked to different, people that you're linked up to Facebook, and just wrestlers, myself, referees, announcers. It's like when we don't get to certain shows, you'd still like to see. It almost harkens back to, you had Pro Wrestling Illustrated when, which is still around.
Oh, of course.
But I liken it to that because it's like you used to go into the back pages of that to see the matches from like these more smaller territorial shows. And I think you've got that down to a science where people are like, I wasn't there, but I know the people who won, how they won, any kind of interference, anything like that. And I think it's incredible that you put so much heart and soul into it. So personally, I'd like to just thank you for that.
Well, thank you. And I was completely inspired by Pro Wrestling Illustrated magazine. I wanted to take it to a higher level, though, and do more detailed reports than what they would offer. Oftentimes, they would just have the results without any real details about how somebody won over somebody else. And so I sort of wanted to take it to that level. And, it's like very risky to put yourself out there that way, in a sense that, because I've gotten things wrong before and I've been called out on it. It can be a little embarrassing, but that's what happens when you put yourself out there and you put your work out there. And I try to put my work out as far as it will go so as many people see it so they know how great the New England indie wrestling scene is, because it's an amazing scene at this point. There's so much going on. There's so much more to come. There's so many guys on the scene moving up to the next level. I mean, it's never been better than it is now, I don't think.
Oh, yeah, you would have to say. I mean, there's literally, you could go, if you were so inclined, you could go to shows Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and probably see on those days, not just one show, two shows. Mm-hmm. If you're if you're that possessed and have that fast of a car. I mean, I've known people who have, started at one show and they do the first match and they're driving an hour and a half away to another show because they're going to be maybe the main event.
Right.
And,
that's dedication.
And that's dedication.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually had someone say something to me. They're like, yeah, I'm refereeing, so I can't really do too much of anything like that.
Uh-huh.
But it's literally you could see a
the biggest marks of all, couldn't you?
Oh yeah, you could see a Richard Holiday in one area of the state, and then go to Rhode Island. You could see Richard Holiday at PAPW, and literally see him in Rhode Island an hour and a half later, doing the main event. Or vice versa. You could see somebody at Blitzkrieg, and then Top Rope. So it's really an amazing scene right now. And again, I say to you, it's like, the stuff that you put together. Listen, if you make a mistake based on what I see, I'm like, God bless you, because there's a lot of content in there. There's a lot of stuff, and and I told you this before, really do appreciate the work you do.
Oh man, it means so much to me to hear you guys say that. Especially coming from you guys, that's very, very kind of you to say. And like I say, I was totally inspired by other people, and I have to, take my hat off to them. Thank you for doing what you did when you did it, because if it weren't for you, I wouldn't be doing what I do now. And I have no, desire to quit or do anything else at this point. I want to keep doing match reports. I want to get the best photos out I can get out and put it all out as far as I can put it. I have fans all over at this point. I have people literally in Taiwan that read my stuff.
Oh, great.
At this point. And I had a wrestler with a Taiwanese wrestler, as a matter of fact, and I did an Ernest K. Fabian interview with him, and it actually got published in Chinese. And to see my, work translated into Chinese and used for those characters, it was really quite something. It was a great feeling.
That's great.
Now, we don't have to show in Chinese, Dan. That's pretty. That's something we should look into doing.
I can cuss you out.
And I've done other things besides. I did that interview with Flying Fred Curry, which I think is like a real highlight of everything I've done so far, to have been able to sit and have coffee at Starbucks with a legend, a Detroit legend like Fred Curry,
Mm-hmm.
And be friends now with his son Nick Curry, who's such a good wrestler, who's wrestling for Battlefront and Test of Strength and other promotions I'm currently covering.
Yeah, I just saw Mr. Curry, his son, on Sunday at a production meeting for Battlefront. So yeah, it's just it's really you get different perspective on things when you're sitting down and you're still a fan, but you're part of what the actual production and or fan is a different perspective. Once you're behind the scenes and you're talking to people, it changed your perception around an awful lot. And
I've learned so much.
Oh,
You just have to keep your ears. You have to keep your mouth shut and your ears open, as William King III would say.
Yes, keep your mouth
And
closed
learn
and
so much.
listen.
Absolutely. So, what do we got coming up for Mr. Charles Katholi? We got PvP wrestling.
Well, coming up for me is tomorrow. I will be going to Kevin Landry's school in Holyoke, Massachusetts.
That's
I plan
right.
on sitting in on a lesson and learning a little something about the business, and maybe doing a write-up about Kevin Landry's school.
Great guy.
And then on Sunday, I got Test of Strength Wrestling in East Hartford, Connecticut, another venue that I greatly enjoy covering. The promoter, Slick Wagner Brown's a great guy, and it's an excellent school. And just watching the matches, that Slick Wagner Brown is an excellent instructor, and he's given these guys the skills they need to succeed in pro wrestling. And then after that, the week after that, I have June 16th, I have PvP Wrestling at Captain Jimmy's in Agawam, Massachusetts, and that promises to be a terrific card as well.
We will be there as well. That's 4 to 7 p.m. for those that don't know. 916 Suffield Street, Agawam, Mass.
Yeah.
And later in the month, of course, I do have, there is Battlefront Pro Wrestling, I believe, June 23rd.
Yep, June 23rd.
Right? June 23rd. I can't believe I got that date right. In Ludlow, Massachusetts at the Elks Lodge. I hope everybody can make that show, too.
69 Chapin Street. That's going to be Ludlow. That's going to be an outdoor event.
Absolutely. And there's also Blitzkrieg Pro Wrestling happening in Enfield, I believe, at the
Mount Carmel Park.
Yep, happening there. So that should be another great show, and that's closer to the end of the month. I believe that might be the 27th. I'm not sure.
That is the 30th. The 30th. It's they're calling it Ohana, a pro wrestling luau.
Yep, that's going to be a good time as well. I absolutely intend to be there and covering the show. I wouldn't miss a Blitzkrieg Pro show for anything. Anyway, I believe it's about 8:30, and you're about to shut the show down. So
Yeah, we started a few minutes later, so I mean.
Oh well, then
Bonus.
So
we're sort of into overtime.
Now, if they're calling that Ohana a pro wrestling luau, does that mean everybody gets a lay?
Everybody gets a leg.
Except you, Dan.
you say that.
You can't say that on TV, but well,
A lay's a thing that goes around your neck.
that's it.
Right.
Yeah, Charles.
Hawaiian.
Yeah, that Battlefront show is going to be. I was up and I think that's going to be an outside show, but it's in a pavilion. So
I don't know how they're going to top. I don't know how they're going to top that hardcore bring your weapons match. They saved the weapons. In fact, they announced, Leo McStubbs, the commissioner, announced at the show at Millside Park this past Saturday that they saved all the weapons from that last show, and that those will all be brought back into play. And I remember they had kitchen sinks.
They literally had a kitchen sink. I saw it.
They had two.
Yeah.
They had two.
People were bringing. I'm like, they literally told people. They were telling people, no, you can't bring that. That's illegal. You know. So, and I saw some of the stuff. I'm like, hey, listen. And they're talking about that match is going to be. It was crazy when they did it the first time. Imagine what it's going to be like the second time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, look, I'm glad I wasn't at Dual Hack that night. My God, to have that can put over your head, that beaten with a rattan cane while the can is over your head.
Yeah. It was speaking. As coming in as a referee from the back room. There were three of us. And they were like, get out there, you got to break it up. And we all looked at each other, we're like, we're not breaking that up, you know? And
no,
so,
too dangerous.
Yeah, and...
Quick way to get seriously injured interfering with those kind of shenanigans, as we would say.
Well, it's like a hockey fight. You just wait till they punch each other out, and then you're like, hey, get out of here, you know? And hopefully they don't come after you. But, yeah, it was a great time, and, you know, it'll be a very interesting show, so...
Now, I wanted to finish up with a question. Did you guys see the footage I posted of that leap that Hammer Tunis made at that show at the Dean Tech High School in Holyoke, Mass?
I did.
Wow, that was something, wasn't it?
That was amazing. That was a work of art.
Yeah, I know I posted it on the Squared Serpent page.
You did. Yes, you did.
I had to.
Right.
I had to share that one with the world. You know that video has gotten more views than anything I've put out yet. It's got like almost 2,000 views at this point, I believe.
Wow.
So a lot of people have seen that one. And well, they should, I must say.
Right. I mean, that's amazing. I'm very, very proud of Tunis and Hollister, especially being in making their debut for a Ring of Honor as well. That it's amazing. I'm glad to see it. Yeah, I feel kind of proud to have been supporting them all these years. To see that they've made it there. I don't know how often they'll be there, but it's a good thing. It's a plus.
And Skylar, of course, I believe was signed with them.
Really? Signed all together?
That's what I've heard. I mean, that's just, as far as I know, it's a rumor, but I'm not 100% sure of the validity of the rumor, but that's what I heard.
She was on that card. Well, we'll probably we might be able to get the truth in the next PvP show. She'll be
I
there.
would hope so.
Yeah. She'll be defending her belt against Jocelyn that night.
Yeah, I mean, Jocelyn has to rely on biting, so I don't think there's much of a chance. I think Skylar can overcome Jocelyn pretty easily. Nothing against Jocelyn. You know, she's fine in the ring, but I think that Skylar will pull one out and retain the championship. That's my prediction.
I would have to concur.
We'll have to see. You never know if you've ever been bitten by a shark before.
Right, but she's a very friendly shark.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I remember that if I'm ever in the Pacific Ocean and there's a shark, I'm like, are you a friendly shark or a mean shark?
Just hope they're related to Jocelyn. That's
it.
Charles, we thank you very much.
Thank you, guys, and until next time, I had a great time and hope to see you all soon.
All right, we'll see you at PvP.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, PvP. Take care.
Right, take it easy. Wow, that's like 2 in a row.
Yeah, I know. We're busy. We're definitely
Right.
busy. So
That's like when you're driving somebody for Uber and the app goes off
yeah,
before the last people get out of the car. Not that I would know anything about that, but that's what I'm told anyway.
yeah. I've seen you drive. I just assume walk. Or I've driven behind you.
Walking is a lot healthier.
Yeah. If you need a good laugh, they should put a video camera in your car and just watch you Uber. That would be worth.
Who said I Uber?
Well,
That's a rumor.
it's a rumor.
I wouldn't. If anything, I take Ubers.
You take Ubers.
Right.
You are Hollywood J. Williams, you know.
But of course.
So, and that's
And
Mr.
Mr. Chatterbox over
I
here
know.
today.
I was just going to say, Mr. Never at a loss for words, unless he's lost for words.
Is this your heel turn?
That's because the guest that we're going to have next week will blow studio up, blow the ratings through the roof.
Blow the ratings through the roof.
Blow the ratings through the roof.
Yeah, because you don't
And
want
they
the,
are-
you don't
and
want
they
the
are-
studio blown up because then the show is over.
And they are no fan.
Wow.
And they are no fan of yours either.
Oh, really? Well, you know what? La-di-da.
All right. No fan of the professors.
No fan of the professors. So it could
Right,
be
I-
a very
Are you
interesting
negotiating with
situation.
terrorists again?
That cannot be concurred or denied. Or, you know.
Concurred?
Concurred?
He learns one word from a show,
Yeah.
and he uses all the time.
Well, we concur. Well,
I think we should just say that we all say.
we all say I think we had two solid guests, right? Unfortunately, there's something wrong with this Plex video projector thing, so I can't really show any pictures. I was able to show the video. I have to get with the crack staff back there.
Yeah, I'd leave those guys alone. I see them throwing darts at your pictures. So
Well, they always do that anyway.
yeah, I know. Well, I
Right.
do it too, so you know,
Right.
can't really say that
Then
much.
there's
So,
the-
what do we got? Where are you headed this weekend?
This weekend, it doesn't see much of anything except the Friday Night Alley fights.
Except it is the major event. I just hit the mic, so our crew people are probably falling over.
Right.
But major match. I would go as far as to say epic. Sammy Diaz against Nutrius X. I think, as I said on the Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be one hell of a night. Come down.
Right. Come one, come all.
That's it. You know, a lot of good stuff coming out there. You know, we're trying to make sure we get as much out as we can to the fans.
Right.
You know, and Charles, you know, does a great job. But you know, like us on Facebook. You know,
Right. Like
maybe,
us on Facebook. Join the group page, the Squared Circle TV.
maybe we'll get on.
Watch us on YouTube.
Maybe we'll get on Instagram one day.
Possibly.
Twitter the next time.
Maybe.
Yeah. So,
I'll think about it.
yeah, you
I'll
gotta-
see what's in the budget for that.
all righty.
All righty. Dan, any last words?
All righty.
All righty. I'm Hollywood J. Williams,
I am.
the professor. Good night. Good luck. We'll see you next week.